You saw there, which was like a startup in a way, to now also which are well-established businesses. 99.9% of businesses do not talk to their customers. Sales के लिए, marketing के लिए ad चला रहे हैं, but पैसा नहीं बना रहे. कि आपने कोई अपना business model, एक profit model नहीं बनाया, जिसमें design का role है, jewelry, clothes, and they're always guessing कि ये बनाएंगे बिकेगा या नहीं. तो we need to have a method जिसके अंदर हम पहले से प्रिडिक्ट कर सकें कौन सा डिजाइन हमारा अच्छा दिखेगा. ऐसा क्या ओपन अप हुआ आपके लिए, वो रिजल्ट पॉसिबल हुए. और बिहाइंड माय मेथोडोलॉजी ऑफ स्पाइरल ग्रोथ, इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग एट अ बिजनेस or anything in parts, don't judge anything from its cost perspective. Do their accounting completely wrong. You calculated a product cost, you already gone wrong. Entrepreneurs and business, we really don't understand time management. I think time management is a concept which should be thrown into the dustbin. Welcome to a new episode of Dhande Ki Baat Bajaj के साथ. Our today's guest is very special because he challenges how we fundamentally think about business. So बहुत बार हमें लगता है कि business grow करने के लिए we need more sales, we need more effort. But he thinks that this concept is fundamentally flawed. Today we have Mr. Anuj Mittal, who's the founder of Spiral Growth Strategy. He has experience of 23 years of turning around businesses. He's an IIT IIM's alumni, has worked as a consultant with companies like BCG, Boston Consulting Group, for Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Dabur. He's someone who scaled his own business 500 times, and that's not easy. आज के एपिसोड में हमने कुछ फंडामेंटल बातें करी हैं बिजनेस के बारे में, जैसे कि बिजनेस जो है, ग्रोथ जो है वो लीनियर नहीं है, दैट ग्रोथ इज स्पाइरल. Another thing that we deeply touched upon is capacity, building capacity in business and throughput. और ये एक बहुत ही different concept है. So we all know about sales, profits, but throughput एक बहुत अलग concept है जो आपके business को completely transform कर देगा. Trust me, the time you invest in this, watching this episode, is gonna get you multifold returns. Another thing that we touched about is the concept of time management and his take on it, जो मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप अच्छे से अप्लाई कर लोगे, then this entire hustle of time management या time नहीं है will just go away. So watch this episode till the end. I like and share it with someone you feel this would be helpful. Thank you. So welcome to the show, Anuj. It's truly a privilege having you here. So हमारे शो का आइडिया ये है कि जो इंडियन SMEs हैं, बिजनेस ओनर्स हैं, उनको हम क्या वैल्यू दे सके, बिकॉज वी बिलीव कि ये लोग they are the truly value creators in our Indian economy. So आप इतने सारे businesses के साथ काम करते हो, you worked with companies like P&G and Nestle, and then you've also see so many Indian businesses from different scales, चाहे manufacturing है, retail है. So ऐसी क्या दो तीन चीजें हैं जो आपको लगता है कि बहुत ही obvious mistakes है या problems हैं जो Indian businesses में आपको दिखती हो?
Thank you for having me here, Anshul. I think some of the things which I see as deep patterns across repeated होता है बारी बारी. या तो मुझे दिखता है कि जो बिजनेस ओनर है वो सब कुछ अपने आप से कर रहे हैं, सब कुछ उनसे बंधा हुआ है, सारे डिसीजन उनके पास वापस आ रहे हैं. सब कोई एक मान लीजिए कि वो कठपुतलियां चला रहे हैं और वो पूरा बिजनेस उन कठपुतलियों के हिसाब से चल रहा है. ही इज द पपेटियर. बट सून वेरी सून क्या होता है कि जो पपेटियर होता है वो खुद ही उन धागों में बन जाता है, बिकॉज हर कभी स्ट्रिंग यहाँ खींच रहे, कभी यहाँ खींच रहे, कभी यहाँ खींच रहे. तो बिजनेस एक तो उस लेवल पे फंसे होते हैं जिस लेवल को हम बोलते हैं केओस लेवल, अटके हुए हैं, और वो एक पॉइंट के आगे ग्रो नहीं कर पाते क्योंकि सर्विस लेवल मेरा सब कुछ खराब होना शुरू हो रहा है. अब मैंने देखा है कि बहुत सारे बिजनेसेस अब यहाँ से बाहर निकलना शुरू हो गए, तो वो एक सिस्टम के पीछे भागते हैं कि सिस्टम लगा लूं मैं, जिससे मेरा सिस्टम से मैं फ्री हो जाऊं, लोग अपने आप से काम करें, सारे मेरे प्रोसेस चले, फंक्शन चले, स्मूथली काम हो जाए, ऑटो पायलट हो जाए, ऑटोमेट हो जाए. तो ये करने के बाद बहुत सारे लोगों को फायदा होता है, उनका बिजनेस स्मूथ होना शुरू हो जाता है, रनिंग ऑपरेशन रनिंग में आ जाती है, और वो ये रियलाइज नहीं करते कि उन्होंने अपने आप को यहाँ पर बांध लिया है. अब वो सिस्टम से इतने कंफर्टेबल हो जाते हैं कि वो सोचते हैं कि अब यही सिस्टम मुझे ग्रोथ ला के दे दे.
राइट.
जो आती नहीं. एक बार उनको थोड़ा बहुत जम मिल जाता है और उसके बाद वो ग्रोथ दोबारा आती. व्हाट दे एक्चुअली एंड अप डूइंग इज वो अपने आप को कस्टमर से, मार्केट से, प्रॉब्लम से दूर कर लेते हैं और वो सोचना बंद कर देते हैं कि मेरे बिजनेस को मैं अपने को इसको आगे कैसे चेंज करूं ताकि इसमें मैसिव ग्रोथ है.
Right.
That's the second mistake which I see businesses doing very, very often. तीसरा अगर मैं बोलूं तो जो वो कोशिश करते हैं कि मैं भी एक बड़ा बिजनेस बन जाऊं, मैं भी एक एमएनसी जैसा बिजनेस बन जाऊं,
Yeah.
वो सपना सबके मन में होता है कि मैं बड़ा हो जाऊं, और वो करने के लिए उनको लगता है वो बड़ा बिजनेस ऐसा कर रहा है तो मैं भी ऐसा करता हूँ, या मैं भी वो बड़ी विजन रखता हूँ, मैं बड़ी सोच रखता हूँ। वो बड़ी विजन बड़ी सोच उनका सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि वो बड़ी विजन बड़ी सोच पे जब चलते हैं वो कदम भी बड़े लेने की कोशिश करते हैं, और वो बड़े कदम उनके बिजनेस के लिए शायद एक पॉइजन का काम करते हैं, जो उनको बिल्कुल टच नहीं करना चाहिए, बिल्कुल नहीं करना चाहिए, उसका ऑपोजिट काम करते हैं।
ये तो बड़ा कॉन्ट्ररी है, बिकॉज वी हैव ऑलवेज सीन एंड हर्ड कि बड़े विजन रखो, बड़ी सोच रखो। तो ये व्हाट इज दिस कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन, लाइक कैन यू गिव कुछ एग्जांपल के साथ बता पाओगे आप?
तो
लाइक हाउ डज दिस एक्ट एज अ पॉइजन?
तो लेट्स टेक सम बिग एग्जांपल्स एंड देन सम स्मॉल एग्जांपल्स। बायजूस का आपने नाम सुना है सबने? बायजूस एक बायजू ने शुरू किया, जिनका फेयर था बहुत अच्छा, कोचिंग ट्रेनिंग में बहुत अच्छा फेयर था,
Yeah.
फॉर एजुकेशन, फॉर स्टडिंग, फॉर स्कूल्स, कॉलेजेस, एटसेट्रा। And at some point of time, he became very popular, and he got raised investments from funds and became one of the largest funded companies in India. I think in 2022, perhaps they were valued at $22 billion. $22 billion is what they were valued at. In less than 2 years, they were down to zero, zero valuation.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened? How did a $22 billion valuation business disappear overnight? कहाँ पहले कुछ भी नहीं थे, बहुत ग्रो करके 22 बिलियन में चले गए। जब 22 बिलियन पे थे तब ओवरनाइट गायब हो गए। Okay,
Right.
so what is happening here is that when you try and grow too fast, when you try and grow faster than what the market acceptance is, faster than what your current capability and capacity is,
Yeah.
you end up taking steps. So what did Byju do? It spent money on everything to get more students, spend money, spend money, spend money.
Yeah.
And in that process, it was not really actually delivering value at the grassroots level. And at some point of time, that business model totally collapsed.
Right.
So having a big vision mission forces you, pushes you naturally in a direction where you want to do big things. And those big things can risk your business in ways which are not good for it. It makes you do things which might be counterproductive for
Right.
that stage of the business you're in. So the right way to grow a business is not think big. It's fine. It's okay, good to think big. But when you build strategy, that is a function of how am I building my capacity to deliver the same value to the customer, which the customer likes about me, even as I'm scaling. And that does not come with big jumps. That's the
Right.
difference.
So just to repeat what you said and continuing this, कि कैपेसिटी बिल्ड करो so that जो कस्टमर को जो वैल्यू मिलनी चाहिए वो मिलती रहे, rather than it coming at the cost of customer.
I think you put it better than I have.
And एक चीज बहुत बार, because we also have our own business and sales बढ़ाते हैं कई बार हम, तो ऑपरेशन में इशू आने लग जाता है, क्वालिटी में इशू आने लग जाता है, सप्लाईज लेट होने लग जाती हैं, फिर कुछ करते हैं तो कभी मशीन नहीं ऐड कर ली, या ऑपरेशंस में कुछ लोग बढ़ा लिए, या लॉजिस्टिक्स बढ़ा लिया, तो सप्लाई ठीक हो गई, बट फिर वो जो सेल्स है वो उतनी नहीं ग्रो हो पाती। तो दिस बिकम्स अ नेवर एंडिंग साइकिल इन अ वे, कि जब ये बढ़ा रहे हैं तो यहाँ इशू आ रहा है, ये बढ़ा रहे हैं तो मतलब उतनी सेल नहीं बढ़ रही। एंड आई हैव हर्ड यू say this कि growth is not linear, growth is spiral. So what does that mean?
Right, great question. तो जो आप एक प्रॉब्लम बता रहे हैं बिजनेस का, कि कभी ऑपरेशंस में काम करते हैं तो सेल्स में दिक्कत शुरू हो जाती है, कुछ दिनों बाद सेल्स में कुछ करते हैं तो ऑपरेशन में शुरू हो जाती है। तो इस भंवर से बाहर कब निकलेंगे? तो इस भंवर से बाहर निकलने का तरीका तब है जब आप अपने बिजनेस को एक फंक्शंस की तरह देखना बंद करें। कैसे सेल्स बढ़ानी है मुझे, या मार्केटिंग बढ़ाना है, या मुझे अपना ऑपरेशन ठीक करना है। जब भी आप बिजनेस के किसी एस्पेक्ट को आइसोलेशन में देखेंगे तो आप दूसरे एस्पेक्ट को इग्नोर कर रहे होंगे, और वही जिस एस्पेक्ट को आप इग्नोर कर रहे हैं वही आपको आके चुभेगा बाद में और वही गिराएगा नीचे। तो इसका अगर मैं आपको एग्जांपल दूं तो मैं ह्यूमन बॉडी का एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं। अगर आप कहते हैं कि मुझे अपना फिटनेस लेवल बनाना, मुझे अपनी हेल्थ बढ़ानी है, मुझे आगे बढ़ना है, तो क्या सिर्फ आप अपनी किडनी पे फोकस करके उस किडनी के ऊपर लगे रहेंगे, किडनी को ठीक कर बढ़ा दूं, किडनी को बहुत मैसिव ग्रोथ दे दूं? ऐसा नहीं करेंगे ना, बहुत स्टूपिड साउंड करेगा।
Yeah.
तो ऐसा बहुत लोग लेकिन करते हैं, वो हार्ट पे फोकस, कार्डियोवैस्कुलर पे फोकस करते रहते हैं, तो अपनी हार्ट स्ट्रेंथ बहुत बढ़ा लेते हैं, जॉगिंग करते हैं, रनिंग करते हैं, बट साइमल्टेनियसली अपने मसल्स की उतनी ट्रेनिंग नहीं करते, थाई मसल्स की ट्रेनिंग नहीं करते।
Right.
तो उन्होंने सोचा होता है मेरी तो बहुत स्टेमिना बढ़ गया, कैपेसिटी बढ़ गया, और जब फुटबॉल खेलने जाते हैं तो 2 मिनट के अंदर इंजरी होके वापस आ जाते हैं। तो सिमिलरली जब आप अपनी बॉडी को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं तो आपको एक होलिस्टिक वेलनेस करना है, आपको बॉडी को इस तरीके से चलाना है कि अगर मेरे हार्ट की कैपेसिटी को बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ाने का फायदा नहीं है, उतना बढ़ाऊं कि जिससे
बाकी
मैं
body-
बाकी बॉडी की कैपेसिटी को उसके लेवल पे ला सकूं। जब मेरी बाकी बॉडी की लेवल की कैपेसिटी बढ़ गई, तब मैं उस पार्ट पे काम करूं जो कमजोर रह गया।
Right.
तो एक साइक्लिकल है, आपको हर पार्ट को जहां पर कमी हो रही है उसको बढ़ाना। तो अगर बिजनेस को भी आप उसी ढंग से देखें तो यू विल सी दैट देयर आर ब्रॉडली 5 पार्ट्स टू द बिजनेस कैपेसिटी, एंड ये आपस में कनेक्टेड है, ये डिस्कनेक्टेड नहीं है। तो हम इसे एक स्पाइरल व्हील कहते हैं। हम इसको बोलते हैं, आपको पहले अपनी एक ऑपरेशंस कैपेसिटी बनानी है। ऑपरेशंस कैपेसिटी तो हम लोग पे सब लोग समझते हैं कि ऑपरेशंस कैपेसिटी कितना हम काम डिलीवर कर सकते हैं, कितने हम ऑर्डर्स डिलीवर कर सकते हैं ऑन टाइम, क्वालिटी के साथ। पर इसके आगे लोग कैपेसिटी के बारे में नहीं सोचते कि अच्छा बना तो दिया डिलीवरी कैपेसिटी, पर मेरे पास सेलिंग कैपेसिटी है क्या, मैं इसको आगे बेच पाऊंगा क्या नहीं बेच पाऊंगा।
Right.
मेरे पास अगर कोई इंटरेस्ट लेके आता भी है तो मैं उसको आगे बेचने का मेरे पास वो स्किल सेट, कैपेसिटी, लोग, टीम या मेथड है कि नहीं है।
Right.
दैट्स द सेकंड कैपेसिटी व्हिच पीपल डोंट रियली अंडरस्टैंड और लुक एट इट एज अ कैपेसिटी। वो सिर्फ बेचना है, वो एक्टिविटी है, वो कैपेसिटी नहीं है। सिमिलरली इसी में अगर हम 2 कैपेसिटीज और आगे जोड़ दें, अच्छा सेल तो करोगे लेकिन किसको करोगे, वो अट्रैक्ट करके जो डिमांड जो आप अपने पास लाओगे, वो डिमांड लाने की आपकी कैपेसिटी क्या है। आमतौर पे बिजनेस चल रहा होता है, हाँ वर्ड ऑफ माउथ से आ जाएगा, रेफरेंस से आ जाएगा,
Yeah.
तो उस तरीके से चल रहे होते हैं, पर कोई एक सिस्टमैटिक कैपेसिटी नहीं होती। पर बिजनेस आपको ऐसे भी मिलेंगे, ऑपरेशंस भी अच्छा है, कैपेसिटी है, सेलिंग भी कर रहे हैं, डिमांड भी आ रही है, पर पैसे नहीं कमा रहे।
Especially in today's startup world that we see so many loss making businesses also जो I think इतनी लोग लगा दिए सेल्स के लिए, मार्केटिंग के लिए एड चला रहे हैं बट पैसा नहीं बना रहे।
यस, तो उनका वैसे आमतौर पे अलग कारण होता है,
राइट।
पर इधर ये होता है कि आपने कोई अपना बिजनेस मॉडल, एक प्रॉफिट मॉडल नहीं बनाया। अब प्रॉफिट भी एक कैपेसिटी होती है। अब कोई सोचता नहीं है कि प्रॉफिट को एक कैपेसिटी के नजरिए से देखा जाए। आमतौर पर क्या बात कर रहे हैं, प्रॉफिट और कैपेसिटी। प्रॉफिट तो प्रॉफिट होता है, और हम कह रहे हैं हर बिजनेस के अंदर एक कैपेसिटी होती है कि इससे ज्यादा प्रॉफिट, ये मैक्सिमम प्रॉफिट में क्या कमा सकता हूँ इस बिजनेस। और क्योंकि उसके अंदर आपने उस नजरिए से नहीं देखा है, आपका जो तरीका चला आ रहा है कि हम ऐसे ही धंधा करते हैं और ऐसे ही हम पैसे कमाएंगे, उस चीज को आप छेड़ते नहीं। तो प्राइसिंग स्ट्रेटेजी से आपका प्रॉफिट, कैपेसिटी पूरा डायरेक्टली इंपैक्ट होता है। किस तरीके से आप अपने ऑपरेशंस रन कर रहे हो, उससे डायरेक्टली इंपैक्ट होता है कि आपको लोग क्या प्राइस देने को तैयार हैं। किस तरीके से आप उस ऑपरेशंस को आप मार्केट कर रहे हो, उस ट्रेंड्स को आप मार्केट कर रहे हो, उससे डिटरमाइन होता है कि कितने लोग आप बस अट्रैक्ट हो रहे हैं। तो ये चारों चीजें आपस में कनेक्टेड है। इंडिपेंडेंटली किसी भी एक चीज को बनाओगे तो बिजनेस क्या है, आसमान से गिरोगे तो खजूर में अटकोगे।
सो वेल सेड बिकॉज बहुत बार हमने देखा है और कि कोई स्पेशली जो फैमिली लेड बिजनेसेस है कि देयर समवन हुज या तो वेरी गुड एट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, तो प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छा बना रहे हैं बट कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग सेल नहीं आ रही। देयर आर सम पीपल हु आर मोर इन अ वे गुड विद सेल्स बट कोई ना कोई बैक एंड पे इशू, एंड टेकिंग दिस होल एज होलिस्टिक, जैसा आपने बोला द बॉडी एग्जांपल आई थिंक ब्यूटीफुली पुट, एंड इन बिटवीन यू आल्सो सेड समथिंग कि लोग एक्टिविटी कर रहे हैं बट कैपेसिटी नहीं बिल्ड कर रहे। So I just want to understand and for everyone कि capacity का क्या मतलब है and what is the difference between activity and capacity?
Okay, got it. So body वाला एग्जांपल में से लेते हैं, and I will relate it to business after that.
Yeah.
So let's say you go for a 4-kilometer run every day. Okay. Now that's the every day you're doing it, so that you over a period of time you build the stamina and the capacity
To
to do a 4-kilometer run.
Yes.
But one day your friend is with you and friend says let's run 10 kilometers, and you put in the effort and somehow you manage to run that 10 kilometers job. Now that 10 kilometers was one thing which you managed to somehow do on that day, but did you have the capacity and the stamina to do that? You didn't, right? So that was an activity, not the actual capacity bit. If you were to build the capacity to do the 10-kilometer run, you would have had to build it from 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 7. Over a period of time, you would have trained your heart and your muscles to be able to do that. Now, if you take the same analogy to business, a lot of the time, what businesses are doing, particularly in sales and demand, is activity. And let me sell something, let me do some calls, let me get some leads, let me do something. All of that is activity.
Yeah.
But how much of that is capacity which is built into the business, where on its own, that business will run on its own with smoothness, that demand will come, that sale will happen, that operation will run, and that profit will be made. That is the difference between capacity. That muscle has been built to do that versus just trying it one day somewhere.
So true. And मतलब हमारे discussion में you had shared that in 2014 you were working with the online women fashion wear brand और उसको आप -40% loss से you took it -40% EBITDA से you took it to a profitable. So just like throw some light on that story. What happened? What did you change? क्या हो रहा था पहले? And something especially जो आप अभी भी businesses में देखते हो, you know that you saw there, which was like a startup in a way, to now also which are well established businesses. How do you like draw that story?
So this was a very interesting story. So this company was called Zovi.com. It is no more. It shut down in one of the years sometime back. So this was 2014. And Zovi was one of the first D2C fashion brands in India. That time D2C term was not used, but it was one of the first online-led fashion brands in India. Now Zovi had two parts, the men's fashion and the women's fashion. The men's fashion had been doing well, relatively. But the women's fashion business, which I was brought into head, had been in shambles before that. We were at a -40% EBITDA. And many things had been tried before I came. Multiple heads, CEOs of the business, heads of the business had been changed, but nothing had really worked. So when I came in, and before I came in, and the team wanted to brief me, and I said, listen, I don't want to know anything from you. I first want to go and meet the Zovi customers who are currently buying Zovi products. So can you please line up 10, 20 customers whom I can go and meet and talk to? There was stunned silence. The entire management team, which was there, who was hiring me or hired me, they were silent. I like, why are you silent? And what it came out was, in the last 4 years, nobody had ever spoken to a customer.
Wow. And how true is that for even businesses कि हम customer से ही नहीं पूछ रहे कि क्या in a way क्या उनको चाहिए या क्या चल रहा है.
And I'm telling you, 99.9% of businesses do not talk to their customers other than when they're selling to them, other than when they're solving some problem for them, or other than when the customer is called to complain about something. That is the only conversation we have with them, and it's very transactional.
Yeah.
Business owner को पता ही नहीं है कि कस्टमर की जिंदगी में क्या चल रहा है, क्या हलचल चल रही है, क्या तूफान चल रहा है, जबकि हम सबकी जिंदगी में चल रहा है और कस्टमर की जिंदगी में भी चल रहा है. और बिजनेस ओनर उससे दूर है. वो अपना सिस्टम लगा के बैठा कि अच्छा मेरा तो काम चल रहा है. तो वो कस्टमर को वो सर्विस तो दे रहा है, वो प्रॉब्लम तो सॉल्व कर रहा है उसकी, जो कस्टमर उससे मांग रहा है. पर जो एक एक्सप्लोसिव ग्रोथ जो कस्टमर को हिला दे कि अरे ये भी पॉसिबल है. जैसे अगर मैं आपको इसका एग्जांपल दूं, जेप्टो, ब्लिंकिट, इंस्टामार्ट, हमने इन सबकी सर्विसेज यूज करी हैं.
Right.
10 minutes डिलीवरी. Many of us are addicted to that service. जब से आई है हम यूज करते हैं. पर आपको पता है 3 साल पहले तक ये कोई सर्विस थी नहीं. हम में से किसी ने सोचा था कि कोई 10 मिनट की ग्रोसरी डिलीवरी सर्विस दे दे मुझे. मैं हजारों लोगों से ये सवाल पूछ चुका हूँ.
Yeah.
आज तक सिर्फ एक आदमी ने बोला हाँ शायद मैंने सोचा था. मोस्टली किसी के दिमाग में भी नहीं आया था कि 10 मिनट की डिलीवरी भी हमें चाहिए.
Right.
इनफैक्ट ये सर्विस शुरू होने के बाद भी बहुत लोगों ने क्वेश्चन किया था, ये क्यों शुरू करी 10 मिनट की डिलीवरी, इसका क्या फायदा है. पर हम सबको आदत लगी है उसकी. तो ये बिजनेसेस कैसे शुरू हुए, क्यों शुरू हुए? इन लोगों ने कस्टमर को एक अलग नजरिए से देखा. कस्टमर को देखा कि कस्टमर किस तरीके से अपनी जिंदगी परेशान होकर जीता है. अगर आप ग्रोसरी डिलीवरी की बात करें, हमारे घर में कुछ खत्म हो रहा है, नाश्ता बना रहे हैं, कुछ अंडे खत्म हो गए. अब अंडे आपको उस नाश्ता बनाते हुए समय में ही चाहिए. अगर आप किसी दुकानदार को फोन करोगे, मैम सिर्फ 6 अंडे तो भेजेंगे नहीं हम.
Right.
तो वो आपसे कम से कम 400-500 रुपए का ऑर्डर लेंगे और उसके बाद भी कोई भरोसा नहीं है कि आधे घंटे में आएगा, 1 घंटे में आएगा, उतनी देर में बच्चों ने स्कूल जाना है,
So true.
तो वो आएगा नहीं. Okay. पर उस समय द हाउसवाइफ और द पर्सन हु इज कुकिंग द ब्रेकफास्ट डज नॉट थिंक कि अच्छा यार 10 मिनट की सर्विस हो. कस्टमर को परेशानी हो रही है तब, और कस्टमर को
Yeah.
पता नहीं कि इस समय मुझे क्या चाहिए, क्या पॉसिबल है. पर बिजनेस ओनर ये सोच सकता है कि अच्छा कस्टमर को अगर ये 10 मिनट सर्विस मैंने अगर दे दी, तो और ऐसे ही कितने और कस्टमर्स होंगे जिनको ये सर्विस चाहिए, हो सकती है, जिनको इस चीज का फायदा हो सकता है. तो and that is how you identify something which has not been done by any of your competitors so far, and it may not cost you much to be able to do it. Okay. And then completely change the game. Let me give you an example of a business that did that. Okay, so there is a Chennai based business which is deals in a commodity of steel commodity, and they make and supply that to automobile companies, some parts of steel or components of steel which they make and supply to them. And there are many people like them who supply. So it's basically a commodity business. Normal delivery time for them was 3 weeks. And they realized that often, this went and spoke to purchase managers of these large companies, that often the purchase manager is frantically calling them that somehow give me the order right now, in the next 2-3 days I need material, otherwise my factory will shut down because suddenly this material is out of stock.
Okay.
In that moment, if the vendor has material, he gives it to them. Otherwise, he's like, I don't have it, you find it from somewhere else. I can't do anything. My timeline is 3 weeks. So he said, I get these calls repeatedly. Is there a way I can solve this problem for these people? And he started to think differently. And when he started to think differently, जब उन्होंने अलग सोचना शुरू किया उसके ऊपर, तो उन्होंने देखा कि अगर मैं इनको ये माल 3 दिन में, जब इनको अर्जेंसी चाहिए, 3 दिन में प्रॉमिस कर दूं, तो इनको बहुत शांति मिलेगी, इनको माल मिल जाएगा. मुझे अपने एंड पे ऑपरेशंस में काफी चेंजेस करने पड़ेंगे, जिस तरीके से मैं इन्वेंटरी रखता हूँ, जिस तरीके से मैं माल को सप्लाई करता हूँ, वो करने पड़ेंगे, पर मैं वो कर सकता हूँ. तो उन्होंने वो 3 दिन की सर्विस लॉन्च कर ली. ये मान लो जो जेप्टो ने ग्रोसरी में किया, इन्होंने स्टील उसमें 3 दिन का सर्विस उनको दे दिया अर्जेंट ऑर्डर से. तो आप सोच सकते हैं क्या रिजल्ट आया उनके करने के बाद, क्या हुआ मार्केट में.
He became the preferred vendor and उसको स्टॉक नहीं रखना, 3 दिन में पता है माल आ जाएगा. In fact,
एब्सोल्युटली. तो
सारे ऑर्डर आने लाइक
उन्होंने भी खुद नहीं एक्सपेक्ट किया था कि क्या रिजल्ट आएगा. कस्टमर ने उनसे प्राइस के ऊपर नेगोशिएट करना बंद कर दिया, और सिर्फ उस अर्जेंट ऑर्डर के लिए नहीं, पूरे ऑर्डर के लिए. तो उनका सीधा मार्जिन तो वहीं पर डबल हो गया, कोई डिस्काउंट आगे और नहीं देना. दूसरा, जहां उनको 90 दिन में पैसे वापस करते थे, अब 40-45 दिन में पैसे वापस कर देते हैं, कैश पे भी ले लेते हैं. हमें माल दे दो, हमें रिलायबिलिटी चाहिए माल में, हमें जब माल चाहिए हमें उस समय चाहिए. यहाँ तक कि वो चेन्नई में है, उनको दिल्ली से तक फोन आता है कि क्या आप हमें माल सप्लाई कर दोगे, हमारे वेंडर हमें टाइमली सप्लाई नहीं कर पाते.
and that I think is number one KRA of like a procurement purchase guy कि उसको माल कभी भी खत्म नहीं होना चाहिए. And they provided this certainty to them कि हम 3 दिन में आपको दे देंगे.
एक्चुअली नंबर 1 KRA जो परचेज वाले का होता है, वो होता है कॉस्ट कम करना.
अच्छा.
तो आमतौर पे 90% टाइम वो आपसे बात कर रहा होता है, कॉस्ट कम करो, कॉस्ट कम करो, कॉस्ट कम करो. पर ये जो अनसेड KRA होता है कि माल कभी खत्म नहीं होता,
हाँ.
जिसके ऊपर उसको कोई इंसेंटिव नहीं मिलता, जिसके ऊपर उसको कोई ब्राउनी
Basic
पॉइंट्स
part
नहीं
of the
मिलते,
job.
तो ये तो तुम्हें करना ही है. तो अज्यूम्ड है कि माल खत्म नहीं होता. ये वाले चीज के ऊपर जब होता है, तो परचेज मैनेजर की जॉब पे आ जाता है. वो इतना स्ट्रेस होता है इस समय उसको, कंपनी में सारे अंदर ईमेल CEO चला रहे हैं, सब चला रहे हैं कि माल कम कैसे हो. तो दैट स्ट्रेस इज नॉट वर्थ फॉर द परचेज मैनेजर टू टेक. ये छुपा हुआ होता है. जब भी आप किसी परचेज मैनेजर से पूछोगे, वो बोलेगा नहीं आपको ये बात आपको हिडन होती है, जो बात करके निकलती है. इसीलिए अगर मैं इसको वापस लेके आऊं कि हम बिजनेस ओनर, हम कस्टमर से बात करना जानते ही नहीं कि उससे हमें किस तरीके से बात करनी है, ताकि उनके जो अंदरूनी प्रॉब्लम जो चल रहे हैं, जो शायद कस्टमर को खुद नहीं मालूम, वो बाहर निकल के आए. इस प्रोसेस को हम हैसल इंटरव्यू कहते हैं. वो हैसल इंटरव्यू जब तक लोगों को करनी नहीं आती, वो ढूंढ ही नहीं सकते वो छुपे अपॉर्चुनिटीज जो उनको एक्सप्लोसिव ग्रोथ दे सकता है, वो कैसे मिले.
आई रिमेम्बर जब हम आपके पास पहली बार आए थे, तो यू आस्क्ड अस कि अच्छा आपका प्रोडक्ट कौन खरीद रहा है, एंड वी सेड रिटेलर खरीद रहा है. एंड देन यू सेड कि आपको पता ही नहीं कि कौन खरीद रहा है. यू गो एंड सिट एट द शॉप वेयर दैट सेल इज हैपनिंग कि कौन आके खरीद रहा है. इज इट द हाउसवाइफ, इज इट समवन एल्स? एंड दैट हैज ट्रूली changed how we look at offerings in terms of our schemes, our discounts. So yeah, 100% agree to that. So what happened at Zoe? We were continuing that
Oh
story.
yes. So with Zoe, when we looked at that the customers had not been spoken to, I went and met the customers. तो उससे पहले तक कंपनी में Zoe में अंदर बिलीफ था कि मेन प्रोडक्ट तो हमारे बहुत है, हमारी विमेन्स रेंज बेकार है, किसी कस्टमर को हम पसंद नहीं है, सारे रिटर्न आते रहते हैं, ये बिजनेस नहीं चल रहा. बट जब मैं जाके उन कस्टमर से मिला जो हमसे रेगुलरली खरीदते थे, मैं उनके घर जाके बैठा, मैंने उनके वार्डरोब में
Wow.
देखे कपड़े देखे, मैंने उनसे बात की,
Really?
असल लोगों से.
Wow.
दे वर सो हैप्पी विद जोवी. उनको हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स बहुत पसंद थे. उन्होंने अपने दिखाया, मेरे को पिछले महीने मैंने ये खरीदा था, मैंने ये खरीदा था, आपका ये बहुत अच्छा है, आपका वो बहुत अच्छा है. तो मेरी आंखें खुल गई कि ओ, इधर बहुत अच्छी चीजें भी हैं जोवी के बारे में जो हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हमारे बिजनेस के बारे में हमारे कस्टमर्स हमसे बहुत खुश हैं. ठीक है. तो वहां से जब हमने वो उठाना शुरू किया कि ये लोग हमसे खुश हैं, तो हमें पता चला कि अगर हमारे पास 1000 कस्टमर है, उसमें से अलग अलग तरीके के कस्टमर है, एक जैसा कस्टमर नहीं होता, जिनको हम बोलते हैं माइक्रो सेगमेंट्स. तो 100 कस्टमर एक जैसे हैं, 200 कस्टमर एक जैसे हैं. कोई मेघालय में एक कस्टमर बेस है जो वहां से सिर्फ वो शॉर्ट्स ऑर्डर करते हैं ज्यादा. जयपुर से जो कस्टमर बेस है वो एक तरीके के ऑर्डर करते हैं. तो जब हमने उनको देखना शुरू करा, तो 1000 कस्टमर की जगह हमें 10 अलग अलग टाइप्स ऑफ कस्टमर दिखाई देने शुरू हुए.
Wow.
तो उसमें से हमने देखा कि ये कौन से कस्टमर्स हैं जो हमारे लिए सबसे अच्छे हैं, जो हमारे बेस्ट रेंज, हमारे मोस्ट प्रॉफिटेबल रेंज को खरीदते हैं और बारी बारी खरीदते हैं. क्या हम इन कस्टमर्स के लिए स्पेसिफिकली टारगेट करके डिजाइन कर सकते हैं? तो पहले तो उन कस्टमर्स को हमने ढूंढा, उनके लिए फिर हमने डिजाइन प्रोसेस शुरू किया और उस डिजाइन प्रोसेस को हमने पूरा दोबारा बनाया, जो एक अलग कहानी है.
Wow.
तो वो कहानी जब हमने पूरी ठीक करी, तो हुआ अल्टीमेटली रिजल्ट क्या हुआ कि हमारा माल जिस दिन वेबसाइट पे डलता था, उसी दिन सारा बिक जाता था.
And this was 2014
Without 2014,
when e-commerce was still coming up in India.
e-commerce had become really big because Amazon and Flipkart in particular have started doing the big $1 billion sale.
Right.
And that was the time when the traffic had started to move from websites to mobile apps.
Yes.
And Zoe still did not have a
Mobile.
mobile app. Okay. So despite that, despite being on a disadvantaged position, our sales shot through the roof. We stopped giving discounts. People used to be, our customers now began to be worried कि जिस दिन लॉन्च हुआ है उसी दिन नहीं खरीदा तो मिलेगा नहीं इसके बाद.
क्रेजी. तो ज़ारा की सेल की तरह हो गया कि जिस दिन सेल लगी है 10 बजे ही लोग पहुंचे हैं. बट बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस, तो बहुत सारे लोग फैशन इंडस्ट्री में हैं, डिजाइन जिसमें डिजाइन का रोल है, ज्वेलरी, क्लोथ्स एंड यू नो, एंड वन बिग थिंग आई थिंक चैलेंज इज कि क्या बनाए, या फिर दे आर ऑलवेज गेसिंग कि ये बनाए ये बिकेगा या नहीं. And a lot of times I think designers are the one who are taking that call. So what do you suggest to such people कि जो इस industry में, how do they make this decision कि what do they have to manufacture or what do they have to design?
तो इसमें भी मैं आपको एक जोवी की कहानी बताता हूँ.
Yeah.
तो हमारे पास डिजाइनर्स थे. तो आमतौर पे फैशन डिजाइनिंग में या ज्वेलरी डिजाइन में प्रोसेस क्या रहता है कि डिजाइनर स्टडी करते हैं कि मार्केट में क्या चल रहा है, ट्रेंड क्या है प्रोडिक्टेड है नेक्स्ट ईयर की, और उस ट्रेंड और उस उनके रिसर्च के बेसिस पे वो अपना एक बोर्ड बनाते हैं. उस मूड बोर्ड के बेसिस के ऊपर वो अपनी एक कलेक्शन डिजाइन करते हैं. उस कलेक्शन को जो डिजाइन करते हैं उसके सैंपल बनाए जाते हैं और इस सैंपल को दिखाया जाता है हमारे रिटेलर्स को, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स को, किसी को कि आप इसके ऑर्डर दे दीजिए.
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही होता है.
ऐसे होता है राइट.
Yeah.
तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर रिटेलर उसके ऑर्डर दे देते हैं और ब्रांड को, फैशन वाले को लगता है देखो मेरा काम खत्म, मेरे तो इसके ऑर्डर मिल गए, मैंने ऑर्डर ले लिया. अब जो ऑर्डर मिल जाता है, जो जितना सफिशिएंट क्वांटिटी का ऑर्डर जिस चीज का आ गया, उसको आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेस में वेंडर को दे देते हो बनाने के लिए, फैब्रिक को और गारमेंट को. तो फैब्रिक गारमेंट बन के आता है, ये पूरे प्रोसेस में आपको कम से कम 6 महीने तो लग जाते हैं, ये सारा करने में ज्यादा ही लग जाते हैं. ओके. फाइनली वो बन के जब आता है और मार्केट में दुकान में जाता है, तब खड़े होके सब तमाशा देखते हैं कि क्या बिका, क्या बेस्ट सेलर बना, क्या नहीं बना. तो जो एकदम से बिक जाता है, तो जिसने बनाया होता है वो अपने आप को बहुत खुश होता है कि देखो मैंने बेस्ट सेलर बनाया था, बिक गया. जो नहीं बिकता वो हमारा सारा माल धीरे धीरे या तो उस समय डिस्काउंट में या एंड ऑफ सीजन सेल डिस्काउंट में जाके बिकता है.
राइट. ऐसा ही है.
तो दिस इज एंटायर फैशन साइकिल, और ऐसे ही करते करते पूरा साल भर निकल जाता है.
यस.
अब इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? प्रॉब्लम इस, ये तो नॉर्मल है, इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? प्रॉब्लम इसमें ये है कि जो आइटम आपका बहुत अच्छा, जो डिजाइन आपका बहुत अच्छा बना, आपके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी ही नहीं है कि मैं इसको दोबारा बना के बेच सकूं
In that season.
इन दैट सीजन। वो तो निकल गया, अब अगले सीजन में हो सकता है कुछ और चले।
Yeah.
ठीक है, तो एक तो वो अपॉर्चुनिटी चलेगी, तो जो आपका
Yes.
बिक गया वो आपका लॉस नहीं देख रहा कि कितनी सेल और हो सकती थी जो हमने करी ही नहीं बिकॉज माल ही नहीं था हमारे पास। ठीक है,
And
और जो दूसरा इतना
yeah.
माल जो फंसा रहा,
Yeah.
जिसको डिस्काउंट में निकाला, जो लटक लटक के स्कीम देके धीरे 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 सबके नाक में दम बना रहता है, वो लास्ट में जाके निकलता है। तो इज देयर अ वे इन दिस कैन बी टर्न अराउंड एंड चेंज्ड? तो इसके कई तरीके हैं, एक तरीका नहीं है, कई तरीके हैं, मगर इस समय मैं आपको एक तरीका
Right.
बताता हूँ। Okay? जो हमने जोवी में ट्राई किया, तो जोवी में भी हमें सेम प्रॉब्लम थी। तो हमने कहा हम छोटा बिजनेस है और ये हमारा जिस तरीके से ये प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी चल रही है ये नहीं सस्टेन हो सकता। तो वी नीड टू हैव अ मेथड जिसके अंदर हम पहले से प्रिडिक्ट कर सकें कि कौन सा ब्रांड, कौन सा डिजाइन हमारा अच्छा दिखेगा। सो वी केम अप विद अ प्रोग्राम कॉल्ड द बी द बायर प्रोग्राम।
Be the buyer.
तो हमने पहले डिजाइन प्रोसेस चेंज किया। तो डिजाइनर डिजाइन बनाता था, डिजाइनर डिजाइन बनाने के बाद उसको हम एक मैनेक्विन शॉट ले लेते थे। उस मैनेक्विन शॉट को हम एक अपनी एक इंटरनल वेबसाइट पे डालते थे जिसका नाम हमने रखा बी द बायर प्रोग्राम।
Wow.
सो सारे नए डिजाइन हमारे उस बी द बायर प्रोग्राम के वेबसाइट पे जाते थे। फिर हमारे जो टॉप 200 कस्टमर्स जिनकी मैं बात कर रहा था कि बहुत जिनको जोवी के कपड़े असल में पसंद थे उस टाइप के, हम उनको एक प्रोग्राम में लाए कि यू आर अ प्रिविलेज कस्टमर, तो इसलिए हम आपको एक स्पेशल प्रोग्राम दे रहे हैं जो मौका हम सबको नहीं देते, टू बी द बायर फॉर अस। तो हमारे साथ डिजाइन चूजिंग एंड मेकिंग के अंदर आप पार्टिसिपेट करिए।
Wow.
People felt very special, the customers felt very special। अब मेरा ओपिनियन चाहते हैं, राइट? सो दे एक्टिवली पार्टिसिपेटेड विद अस to invited these 100 200 customers to come and vote on that website for all the designs which they liked and the design which they did not like. To our surprise, they rejected 90% of our designs at the design stage itself.
Wow.
The customers who are actually going to buy knew what they wanted to buy, and because that's how they shop online. Okay,
And they're seeing everything. They're
They're seeing
seeing
everything.
everything in the market. Yeah.
they do better research than
All
what
of
any of our designers can
Yes.
do. Okay, so what happened was that those 90% products we never made, and the 10% that were remaining, the chances of that selling are much higher.
Absolutely.
So we have the opportunity to increase the quantity of that and
Yeah,
be able to be sure that we'll be able to sell that. Okay, so that is one thing which it did. But it did something else which was even more magical than that. So imagine there is a website full of hundreds of designs, 90% of those which you don't like. Okay, that used to be the situation earlier.
Yeah.
Now that got transformed into a website which had 10-20 designs, but every design is what you want to buy.
Yeah.
What would be the difference in the shopping experience of the customer?
Huge difference.
It's beautiful. It's like Apple versus a lot of noisy smartphones available
Yeah.
out there. You literally entered an Apple showroom versus a mobile bazaar. So that's what happened to our design. Our brand took off. The look and feel of the page took off. The customers started loving us, and sales shot up like anything. Our EBITDA went from minus 40% EBITDA to plus 40% EBITDA.
Crazy. Wow. And ये जो सारी science आ रही है using which you consult businesses and all these. So is this like called theory of constraint? Which and I think Eli Goldratt was the founder of theory of constraint, and he was a Israeli physicist, I think, turned now management guru. And what I know when I was researching, you have been one of the few people in India who has been personally mentored by Eli Goldratt. So what was that experience like, and क्या change हुआ, मतलब जब आपने वो पूरा when you worked with him, so what changed and what opened up for you?
I think it was definitely the most privileged experience I have ever had. And mentoring with Dr. Goldratt was not a lot of conversation. He was an extremely intelligent man.
Yeah.
And there was no patience or the scope for very long conversation. To my very long emails, his replies are often in 1 or 2 words.
Wow.
But those 1 or 2 words would completely change the direction of how you were thinking.
Yeah.
So in that interactions with him, he made me realize that my life was all about producing great unconventional results in people and businesses' lives. And I was wasting away my life working for FMCG companies, no matter how good that role was. And it was time for me to get the clarity to drop everything and take the risk and jump in. Okay. And I did that. So that was my biggest shift from that point of view.
But when you say unconventional results, and because what's all out there in the on the internet and social media, बहुत लोग बात कर रहे हैं 5x, 10x, ये x, and what I truly feel is कि ये बोलना एक बात है, but to really do it is very different. So how, मतलब ऐसा क्या ओपन अप हुआ आपके लिए, या ऐसा क्या डिफरेंस यू कुड गेट कि वो रिजल्ट पॉसिबल हुए? लाइक बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं इन अ वे, बट वाज व्हाट्स द सीक्रेट सॉस?
Yes, okay. So the secret sauce behind theory of constraints or behind my methodology of spiral growth is that instead of looking at a business or anything in parts, you try to step back, join the dots, and look at the whole picture, the wholest picture that you can see.
राइट.
आपने वो elephant and six blind men वाला एग्जाम्पल सुना होगा, और मैं फिर भी फॉर द सेक ऑफ रेपुटेशन वो दे देता हूँ. एक बार एक हाथी था और 6 ब्लाइंड लोग थे जो बचपन से ब्लाइंड थे, जिन्होंने कभी हाथी देखा नहीं. तो ब्लाइंड लोग समझना चाह रहे थे कि हाथी क्या है. तो जब उन्होंने हाथी को हाथ लगाना शुरू किया तो किसी ने पूंछ को हाथ लगाया, तो कहते ये तो रस्सी जैसा है. किसी ने टांग को हाथ लगाया तो कहता ये तो पेड़ जैसा है. किसी ने सूंड को हाथ लगाया तो वो कहता ये तो बिल्कुल ही अलग है, ये तो इनके जैसा है ही नहीं है.
राइट.
किसी ने कान को हाथ लगाया तो ये तो पंखा है. Okay. So we as business owners are blind men looking and trying to understand our business, that this row is marketing, this ear is sales, but what we are missing in the entire thing is the picture of the whole elephant. And I'm saying दूसरे का तो छोड़ो, हम अपने बिजनेस का वो जो हिडन एलिफेंट है, जो पूरा बड़ा पिक्चर है,
Right.
हमें मोस्टली हम किसी को वो दिखाई नहीं देता. And the science of theory of constraints and the science of spiral growth strategy
Yeah.
work like this, which connect the dots and help you see the whole picture, enables that. And once you see the whole picture, you suddenly say, oh, this is what the elephant is about. This is what my business is about. जब आपको
Right.
पूरा entirety में समझ में आ जाता है, then it's common sense for you कि okay, what do I need to do?
Yes.
How do I need to move? And maybe perhaps another analogy for this is that let's say आप एक फॉरेस्ट में फंसे हो, आप फॉरेस्ट में घूम रहे हैं, बहुत घना जंगल, आपको उससे बाहर निकलने का रास्ता चाहिए. ओके, जब आपको बाहर निकलने का रास्ता चाहिए और सारे पेड़ ही पेड़ दिख रहे हैं, तो आप किस डायरेक्शन में जाओगे? कभी इधर लग रहा है, ये रास्ता लग रहा है, कभी
Yeah.
इधर जा रहे हैं.
Yeah.
That is the status for most of us, because when you
So
can't
true.
see the whole picture, we move around like this. What do you really need? You need perhaps to climb the tallest tree out there, to go to the top of the tallest tree and see ये forest कहाँ खत्म हो रहा है, और शायद ऊपर से आपको रास्ता दिख जाए, हाँ मुझे इस direction में जाना. And that is what our work enables, to be able to stand up, to go beyond that and get a bird's eye view of your entire business, and then go to the micro level and create that path or choose that path.
So true. And when this happens, मैंने देखा है कि businesses में काम करते हुए सालों साल हर आदमी का ना एक बिलीफ बन जाता है कि यार मेरा व्यापार ऐसा है, मेरे को इन्हीं कस्टमर्स के साथ काम करना है, and they get very stringent कि अच्छा मैं ये नहीं करूँगा. And I think when they see that holistic picture of कि this is what my real, like the elephant that you described, कि ये मेरा है, I think that's when a lot of avenues, opportunities open up, and तब वो I think जो stringency है कि of the way of doing things, I think वो कम हो जाती है. So thank you sir for sharing that. And because you mentioned कि you decided not to work with FMCG companies, and I know your first job was with PNG. So what you shared कि कुछ PNG में in your first job you implemented जो became part of the Procter Gamble India and then part of Procter Gamble Asia. So what was that program like? Talk a little bit about that.
Right. So actually, there were two things which became national and international programs with PNG from what I had implemented.
Wow.
I'll talk about the first one. So I had joined as a summer intern from my MBA. I was doing my MBA from IIM Lucknow, and I was doing a sales internship at Procter and Gamble, and they had launched Tide detergent in India a few years ago, and it was doing decently well. And it had also reduced the price significantly, but it was still not at the price level where it is right now. But they reduced the price. However, they were struggling with getting more and more shops to keep Tide. They already had Ariel. The market already was highly competitive with Surf and other brands out there, and Tide was finding it difficult to get place. So, from a distribution point of view, Tide was available in 45% of the shops where it was meant to be, and they were really wanting to get to 80% level. That at least 80% of the shops should keep it. So as a summer intern, I was given that project, figure out how do you take it from 45% to 80%. And they literally were laughing or sniggering that we have not been able to crack it in 3 years. What do you expect this poor summer intern to do that? So, but I really enjoyed that challenge. I was like, oh, you've given me a problem that you cannot solve. I would love to try my hand at it. So, as I started to study that, what's happening in the market, and the biggest gap in terms of these shops which were not keeping tight was in relatively smaller towns, not in the towns like Delhi or Bangalore or even Jaipur.
Tier 2,
Tier 2, Tier 3 towns, urban towns, but Tier 2, Tier 3 towns. And when I went down to these towns to start to see that which are these shops, what's happening here, I started to notice a pattern. The pattern was that when I'd go to a shop and say, listen, you don't have Tide, this is from Procter & Gamble, this is from the company which makes Ariel, keep Tide. They would say, but no customer has come and asked me for it.
This is a problem.
And but we say we have a TV ad going on. They said if your TV ads are going on, why are the customers not coming and asking us for it? So I will not keep. Now, and when we'll talk to the customers through market research agencies, the customer would say, yes, I thought about buying Tide, but when I go to the shop, I don't find it. Okay. So customer is not, it's a loop. And you're stuck in this loop. Okay. The customer doesn't find it when they need it. Shopkeeper says, because the customer doesn't ask us, I'm not keeping it. How do you break this loop? We're already doing TV advertisement. We're already doing what we can. But in that region, let's say somewhere near in Vijayawada, in South, where language is a barrier, my English or my Hindi advertisement is not really penetrating and making a difference at that level.
Right.
So what was be a creative way to get this loop going? So I started to see that in these towns, shops tended to cluster together in some areas. There will typically be 100 to 150 shops in one area. And a lot of them are selling detergent, a lot of them are selling grocery. Similar shops, but somehow they were clustered together.
Right.
And that pattern I saw across multiple cities, not just Vijayawada or something. So I said, okay, is there a way in which we can trigger tremendous excitement in this small micro market without investing a lot of money? And excitement, not just for the retailers, but for the consumers simultaneously. Otherwise, I'll excite the retailer, consumers won't come. I'll excite the consumers, they will not be able to buy.
Yeah.
So normally what we would have done is that we would have gone shop to shop, offered them some incentive, offers to put some posters there, schemes there, etc. I said, let's not do that anymore. In these 150 shops, we will pick just one shop. And in that one shop, we will cover it from top to bottom with Tide that nothing else is visible. Okay.
Wow.
And this I'm talking about 2002. Okay. Stuff like this wasn't done. So this one shop being completely full of Tide was a point of buzz for the local shops. Kya ho raha hai yahan pe? What's going on? Why is this shop just completely decked with this Tide thing? What is this Tide thing? And on top of that, what we did was we came up with that we'll put a helium balloon of Tide on top of it.
Wow.
So that helium balloon is visible from a short distance of maybe a 50-100 meter radius. All the customers in that region and shopkeepers can see there's something going on here. Okay. So what that did was that for all the customers walking into that market, they were like, what is this Tide? So they would go into the shop and ask, Tide kya hai? The shopkeeper would also be thinking, Tide kya hai? And in that process, they all started to stock Tide, and the sale of Tide, that's initial buying from the customers, started to happen.
Wow.
And suddenly these towns were activated. And that strategy really worked, and this started to be called the Tide Point methodology. This Tide Point, or making these points, became replicated across India and eventually all over Asia for the company.
Wow. So right, मतलब doing there, and because you talked about it, I think बहुत सारे, at least talking about me and a lot of similar business, we don't know what really is marketing in a way. मतलब we have some bits of things that we activities जो हमें लगता है कि हमें marketing में कर लेनी चाहिए या करनी चाहिए, but just want to know what is your take on, you know, what's marketing, or you know, that what all we talked about.
So what is marketing?
Not in its conventional sense, but just what is your take on it?
So I don't like to use the term marketing. Okay. Because when you talk about marketing, people mix marketing with multiple things.
Right.
Sometimes sales is labeled as marketing. Sometimes marketing could mean one-to-one selling as well. Multiple things it means. So I prefer to use the term demand creation. Okay.
Wow.
So have you enabled somebody who's not buying from you right now to get very interested in knowing from you and being interested and looking at what you have to offer as an opportunity for them? That's when you have created demand, when you have generated demand. That's the purpose of marketing. Right?
Yeah. पर बहुत सारे लोग demand creation को, they look at it as an expense, and also I've seen you talk about it a lot कि don't judge anything from its cost perspective, and a lot of business owners, MSMEs think यार ये खर्चा हो रहा है या cost, मतलब अगर profit भी बढ़ाना है for example, so they would say, so in, one is of course you grow your sales and all that, but a lot of time people think कि cost cutting से बढ़ा लेते हैं. So what do you like think about that?
Right. So I think a lot of business owners understand that to grow the business, I have to spend. Okay. But when it comes to spending, the heart doesn't match the mind.
So true.
So you will hold back that I have to, let's say, hire a new employee who will be able to reduce my burden. But I will not take that decision to hire that employee because I'm like, oh, it's too expensive, too much. Should I be spending so much money? Am I that big a business right now that I can afford someone like this? What if this person does not deliver what I'm expecting them to deliver? Okay. So in this analysis paralysis of how this decision could go wrong, how much does it cost me? What we lose sight of is that what is that you're losing in sales which you're not currently doing because of not hiring this person, because of not making this investment. That lost sales because it is not registering in your books. So it is not showing up as a loss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Opportunity loss.
Opportunity loss. But that opportunity loss is often 10 times what you're actually earning right now. And once businesses see that elephant of the opportunity loss, that's when they become cognizant that, oh, this cost I've been trying to save and optimize is nothing compared to that.
So going one level deeper into this, I think logically सबको समझ आता है कि अच्छा अगर हम इस तरह का बंदा ले आएंगे, इतनी सैलरी का ले आएंगे, तो ग्रो हो जाएगा एंड हमारे प्रॉफिट्स भी हैं वो देने के. बट व्हाई डू यू थिंक लोग कर नहीं पाते? एटलीस्ट सब लोग नहीं कर पाते, मतलब. एंड आई थिंक दिस हैपेंड दैट इवन इन आवर बैच a lot of people could afford a higher paid guy who could take care of things, but then they don't put it. What do you think is the deeper reason into it?
So there are two fundamental reasons to it. The first one is most people do their accounting completely wrong. Okay.
So we do accounting as per the government or what is compliances need us to.
Yes, and it's not the business owner's fault, it's not your fault, because the way we've been taught how to think in terms of finance, think in terms of cost, has been taught from an era where saving money, saving cost was the most important thing. Okay. Where opportunities were limited,
Right.
where growth or demand was limited. You know, for example, if you had to buy a car in the 1970s, 80s, you had to wait for a whole year before the car was available to you. Getting demand was not a problem. Cutting corners, cutting costs was the main thing. And that's the thinking that there is translated into our lives, into our books. And that thinking even makes us run businesses today, 50 years, 60 years later as well. not realizing that those methods, that thinking is completely not suited anymore.
So
Why? Because we are no longer in a scenario where demand is given. We have to make demand happen. We have to generate demand for our business, okay, for what we are up to. There's enough and sufficient competition out there for everything.
right.
Now, when you have to generate demand, okay, what you have to evaluate from is that I have a capacity to make, let's say, 100 pieces, and I'm currently selling only 30. So maybe 60, 70, 50, some percentage of my capacity is lying idle. I'm not selling. And if the capacity had sold, I would have made perhaps a lot more money. Now, that lost opportunity is not there in any of our accounting, in any of our measurements, and that still leads us to take decisions based on cost. That is one mistake. The second thing which is there is that we calculate product cost. Isn't it a normal thing to do, to think, okay, what is this? What are you selling? What is the
Yeah.
cost of this product to you?
Yeah.
So how do you price it? This is the cost to me.
Raw material cost and overheads, and you add the two and you get the
Absolutely,
cost.
raw material cost, overhead, here and there, etc. And this is
Yeah.
my total cost. Therefore, I'm going to sell it at a little higher price. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying the moment you've calculated a product cost, you've already gone wrong.
Say more about that. Say more about that.
So let's take an example. So to make it real, okay. Let's say we have this mic, okay, and you are selling this mic. So what is the cost of this mic to me, of manufacturing this mic to me? So the raw material of this rod, the iron, the plastic that has gone into it.
Yeah.
So that's a certain cost. And for every mic I sell, that much material will have to be put in. So that's one cost.
Right.
Now this mic is being manufactured in my factory, where I am paying rent, I am paying the labor, I'm
Yeah.
paying the
Interest cost, there are other overheads, admin salary, and sales salary, and all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So I will say, okay, the raw material cost is 30 rupees. On top of that, 20% overheads I will charge, because how did I calculate that 20% number? Because
Yep.
if I sell 1,000 of these mics
Yeah,
divided by this, so I will approximately add 6 rupees to the cost. So my selling price my cost becomes 30 rupees raw material cost plus 6 rupees overhead, which is 20% of that overhead. Okay. What did I really do? I picked up all my rent and all my costs, divided it by 1,000 mics, and came to that 6 rupees figure. And that 6 rupees figure, I said, okay, 6 upon 30 is 20%. So from now on, whenever I'm manufacturing mics, I will add 20% overheads. That's what we do. That's what cost accounting
Yes,
tells
yeah.
us, teaches us. Okay. You're a CA, you understand, right? Totally. So that's how we do cost accounting. Now, the problem is, you made this entire costing on the assumption that you're selling 1,000 mics.
Right. Which is
What?
the current sales.
Where is the current sale? What if you start selling 10,000 mics from the same facility? Will you change your costing method, or you will continue typically?
Typically, I would want to say कि मेरी cost 36 ही है.
You will say 30 plus
Plus
20% overheads.
Yes.
But in reality, that overhead has now completely changed, because from the same facility, instead of manufacturing 1,000 mics, you're now manufacturing 10,000 mics. I'm taking an extreme example.
Yeah.
So instead of 6 rupees per mic, now it costs you
60 paisa.
60 paisa. So what your actual cost is 30 rupees plus 60 paisa.
Yeah.
30.6 or
Yes.
36. Now what is your product cost? 36 or 30.6? Which is the right number? Are you saying your product cost is changing every time you're changing the volume of the product? Right? And does the volume of the product not change every month?
Yes, it does.
It does. So are we saying that the product cost changes every month to month to month?
There is a fundamental flaw in this.
There is a fundamental flaw in this.
Yeah.
This entire concept of product costing is wrong. Now, it could be harmless. It may not matter anything to you. But the problem is that you have 70% spare capacity available. Okay, let's say you have 50%, 60%, some spare capacity available. Now, somebody is willing to pay you 35 rupees for the mic. I say, I can't afford more, 35 rupees. Should you sell to that person or should you not sell to the person? Your traditional accounting method will tell you, but the cost is 36.
Right.
If I sell it at 35 rupees, I will lose 1 rupee.
Yes.
But if I'm selling 10,000 mics, my cost is 30.5. So I'll make 4 rupees.
Right.
So, but do we treat product costing as flexible? No, we take it as
Yes. ये इतना ही है.
itna hi hai, 30.5, 36 rupees is my product costing.
Right.
And I forget that was done at a particular volume. It was not done everywhere for everything. Now, intuitively, the business owner probably understands this somewhere.
Yes.
But what it does is, it leaves you with unclarity. So that stops your decision making to happen in that moment. So when you delay that decision and you let go of many opportunities, so you say to profit which is walking in and say, listen, I'll take this decision later. This doesn't seem right. Something is missing here. And that unclarity leads you into that indecision zone.
So true, and so aptly put. Because of this decision, there's a bigger loss that we kind of incur. And if you had to like put this for business owners in terms of constraints, or few things that they can change immediately after watching this, what could be those?
Change after watching this. So I would say you should evaluate your entire product portfolio. If you are a inventory based business, whether manufacturing, trade, or retail, or even if you're a service business, what are the different product offerings, which are the different segments that you sell, or the different services that you sell? Evaluate that from the perspective of what is, when I sell one product, one extra product, what is the actual money which comes home to me? Okay,
Right.
and that is the maths that you need to learn to do. कि पैसा घर में कितना असल में आया, जितने भी नोशनल कॉस्ट है कि मेरा डेप्रिसिएशन हुआ है, मेरा फिक्स कॉस्ट है, वो तो लग ही रहा था ना, वो अलग से तो नहीं लगा. उसको छोड़ के कितना पैसा मेरे घर में आया. When you calculate that cost and then you evaluate it against another parameter, which is इसमें जो मेरी सबसे महंगी कैपेसिटी थी, जिसमें मेरा सबसे महंगा रिसोर्स था, उसका टाइम समय कितना लगा, तो आप देखोगे कि अच्छा मैंने इतना पैसा कमाया इतना कैपेसिटी का इन्वेस्टमेंट करके.
Right.
तो ये प्रोडक्ट अच्छा था या दूसरा प्रोडक्ट अच्छा था. एंड यू विल रियलाइज दैट ऑफन योर डिसीजन माइट कंप्लीटली चेंज. Shall I tell you a story around it?
Yeah, for sure.
So I had a used car dealer come to me once who earlier used to sell Marutis and Hyundais, and he saw that on the Marutis and Hyundais, and he was doing good business. He had a good turnover of many crores going on, and he came and said that I used to make just 20,000 rupees on selling a Maruti or a Hyundai. And when I would look at the cars, luxury cars like Mercedes, BMWs, per car, I would make 3 lakh rupees. I like, I'm in the wrong business. I should be selling the Mercedes and the BMWs and the Audis and make 15 times more money. His family advised him, his friends advised him, everybody advised him. It was the most sensible thing to do. So he shifted his entire business from selling Maruti and Hyundai to selling Mercedes, Audis and BMWs. What happened to his business?
Probably got
He went bankrupt. He went bankrupt and he became stuck in debt.
Maruti और Hyundai बिकती इतनी ज़्यादा है and investment कम है in the cost of one.
But that's not intuitive. That's not intuitive. Why? Because
looking at absolute.
आमतौर पे when you will judge, you and I will judge, say इस प्रोडक्ट में 20,000 रुपए बनते हैं, इस प्रोडक्ट में 3 लाख रुपए बनते हैं. Obviously 3 लाख रुपए वाला बेचो. Obviously बात है. You'll make more money here. But what he didn't factor in was that when he gets an old Maruti or Hyundai to sell, it sells within 3 days.
Right.
Every 3 days, he is making 20,000 rupees on that Maruti and Hyundai, and the same money then he can invest back to buy the next Maruti Hyundai. Now, what is his limitation? Why can't he grow his business? His limitation is the amount of money he has available to buy cars. Okay, so 20,000 rupees rotated 10 times in a month. So in a month, when he sold Maruti and Hyundai, he made 2 lakh rupees for the same amount of money which he was investing. Same capital invest. Now, let's do the maths for a Mercedes for that matter. To buy a used Mercedes, he would end up spending 30 lakh rupees at least.
Yeah.
Now he's bought that Mercedes, but how long does that used Mercedes take to sell?
2 to 4 weeks.
It took 3 months
Oh.
to sell one Mercedes. So he spent 30 lakh rupees, invested in it, and for 3 months it was locked, and eventually it made in 3 lakh rupees. Okay. So on an average, he made 1 lakh rupees a month, 3 lakhs in 3
Yeah.
months, 1 lakh rupees a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Now imagine if he had invested that 30 lakh rupees in just selling Marutis and Hyundais. So, and he bought one Maruti for 3 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
3 lakh rupees. So 1/10 of it. Okay. So in the same money, he would have bought 10 Marutis.
Right.
Okay. And every 3 days, he would have sold those 10 Marutis on an average. So every 3 days, he would have made 20,000 into 10, 2 lakh rupees. So in a month, how much he would make?
Yeah.
2 lakh
Right.
into 10 times over 30 days, so
20
20 lakh rupees.
Yeah.
Okay. So on selling Maruti and the Hyundais, he would make 20 lakh rupees while selling Mercedes and BMW per month, while selling Mercedes, BMWs, Audi with 1 lakh rupees a month. Would you have expected that this maths would come out to be 20 times difference? Selling Marutis versus Mercedes? You would have probably thought the other way around.
And ये
That's
लगता भी है because when we see now so many these second hand luxury car showrooms are coming up and हमें दूर से लग रहा है कि यार इसका क्या ROI होगा, but the real money may could be in some other like Maruti's, Hyundai's. And continuing this conversation, yesterday I was with someone, so he said कि when this US tariff happened in India, so he said I had ordered a machine of 5 crores which is lying there, जो आ गई machine मैंने अभी, which is lying there in my factory now packed, but now I don't have the demand to use that machine. And अब मेरे को आपकी वो बात से लग रहा है कि because अब वो 5 करोड़ तो लग ही गए, so might as well, and उसकी एक opportunity cost भी है, interest cost भी है, might as well now invest in demand creation to at least use that as a capacity, because वो खर्चा तो हो ही गया, and using your product costing method maybe he could be easily generate more demand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So well put. And one more topic I want to touch is that मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि जो हम बहुत सारे entrepreneurs हैं, business में, we really don't understand time management. या क्या कैसे manage करें? We sometimes use schedulers या to-do list. So what do you suggest in that? How do we play around it?
Okay, great. So, I think time management is a concept which should be thrown into the dustbin. Strange, right?
Yeah.
Because the times in which we live today is what is that all of us are trying to do. Okay. We are trying to maximize our productivity, trying to get a lot more done all the time. Okay. But the question is there ever an end to how much you need to get done? And will you ever get it all done?
I think it's just personal satisfaction कहाँ पे आ रहा है? किसी को शायद दिन में 1-2 काम करके भी आ सकता है और किसी को 10 काम करके भी नहीं आए. I think so.
That is true. So some of us have become machines to tick off check boxes that I have done so much work. I feel productive today.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's say you had 2 different things to do. One was that you had to train some 3 employees, you've done that. You had to do some accounts work, you've done that. And you had some 20 task lists there and you finished them. Versus, there was one thing which you had to do where you had to meet an important potential business partner from China. And that one meeting would have resulted in a whole new market in China opening up for you. Would these 20 things have the same impact
No.
as that Chinese opportunity?
Not at all.
So, when I'm counting my productivity, am I counting the number of ticks I've had or the impact I've produced or the way I have shaped my future? Okay. So, I am saying what we are all up to is not to tick off items from our box. That is being ticked off in the hope that this will give me a bright future the future which I'm trying to create or trying to reach.
Right.
How about directly working on that? What are those aspects of my work or the work which I need to do, which will directly shape that future, which will change things from the default things which have otherwise been. जो normal routine life अपने आप चलती रहती, अगर उसको बदलना है, तो what are those big things which could have done that? What are those difficult to do
Right.
things which are maybe even avoided to have to take into that? So I'm saying time is inconsequential. What we are really talking about, what actually shapes your future from the mundane, is were those big steps taken when they needed to be taken,
Right.
and that determines your future. As long as you're able to generate those big steps with enough peace of mind and without stress, then you are literally making a future happen with minimal work, without having to really think about whether time was well managed or not. Okay. So perhaps
Wow.
it's not a game of time management, it's a game of brain management. That what will it take for my mind, my brain to be at peace without anxiety in this world where there's so much moving and shaking all the time. Things are moving so fast, so much is happening, so many choices, so much information. And in this world of so much happening, what is the scarcity which I and others face? What is that one thing which nobody has? And that is attention.
Yeah.
Time is not missing. Most of us spend hours doom scrolling. हम बैठ के इस
Yeah.
इंस्टाग्राम उसको स्क्रॉल कर रहे होते हैं.
Right.
टाइम की कमी नहीं है. We're just wasting the time and attention just doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
So what will it take to preserve my attention to do those things which will shape my future? What will it take to get the attention of people who will help me shape my future? That is the only question which should be answered, and not how to manage tax.
Wow. And to put it in words, what you said कि जो काम से फ्यूचर शेप हो रहा है बेसिकली उसको एक तरह से ब्लॉक करके कर लो या उस पे अपनी पूरी अटेंशन के साथ कर लो एंड देन even if you don't take off few things or you take off few things is okay because those may the impact so go by the impact something has on your future. Is that the right way to put it?
So I'm not saying that the other things should not be done. I'm saying if you don't do the other things, you will not be mentally free to do those big things.
So true.
So the point of time management is not to save time, to be productive, to get more done per hour. Okay. The point of time management is that my attention is preserved. My attention is not distracted. My attention is not scattered. My attention, when it is required for that big thing, is fully available. And when you work from that perspective, your method of managing what you need to do will completely alter. And you may realize that you don't need to schedule, you don't need to put it on the calendar, you don't need to even have a to-do list for that matter, as long as your attention is on the right things. Because once your brain is uncluttered, your life is uncluttered and your future is uncluttered. So the game is to unclutter the mind. Structure the mind, not structure your time.
Wow, what a different perspective to it. So thank you, sir. We are coming to a close of this episode. And is there any last piece of thing you want to share या कोई ऐसी चीज जो आपको लगे कि यार ये एपिसोड देख के लोग ये एक चीज भी implement कर ले, so it would be worth their thing. Any last thing you would like to share?
So I would tell people and ask people to Google, use AI to read this about one word called throughput.
Okay.
You've heard of profits, you've heard of sales, you've heard of all kinds of different things. But have you heard of throughput? Throughput, if you really understand and beyond the mathematics of it, will completely alter your life. Throughput thinking is the future of the world. Throughput thinking is going to actually shape the future for you as well as for the business. What is throughput is something I'm inviting you to find out.
Wow, what a feedback. And last we'll do a quick rapid fire.
Sure.
So, and then we can like close the episode. So just a quick rapid fire. What What is one question you think every business owner should ask himself every Monday morning?
How am I growing my throughput today?
One book you would like people to read.
So this is a book by Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt. It's not luck, and it's also called Goal 2.
Goal 2?
Goal 2.
Okay.
Goal 2. And
Great.
this is a book which is applicable to every business out there.
If you have to give one piece of advice to a young chap starting out at 18, 19-year-old who wants to do business, what would that be?
Experiment. Don't get stuck with the first thing that you're doing and don't try to get it right. Don't try to succeed at it necessarily. Your success is a function of the number of experiments that you do and the number of experiments that you can draw lessons from and learn. Micro experiments is what you do.
Wow. So that brings us to the end of this episode. I think it has been a great value. I mean, I can truly feel that we could go on into this episode because Anuj sir has so much to share, his experience, his wisdom, and I think this could easily be into 3-4 hours, but we'll, in the interest of time, we'll just get it out. But I truly request everyone to go through this repeatedly and apply a few things from their business. So thank you. So thank you for watching this episode. And in the end, I want to share one thing that Mr. Mittal shared. He just go and read about throughput. What is throughput and the power it has to really spiral your business. So if you really found this episode valuable, just share this with someone who you think it can add value.